Do you know why you're exhausted by 10 a.m., even though you haven't actually done that much work yet? It's not the workload, it's the negotiation. If you're someone who hits snooze 3 times, stares at an email for 20 minutes, deciding how to reply, or debates whether to go to the gym until it's too late to go, you are leaking energy. You aren't tired from working, you're tired from thinking. You're tired from the constant back and forth in your own mind. The tiny negotiations that seem harmless in the moment, but add up to a massive energy drain by the middle of the day. Today, I'm going to show you how to plug that leak using a single psychological tool called the if-then planning. And I'll walk you through exactly how to set up your own plan by the end of this video. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you feel this way. You have a goal. Maybe it's write the report, start the presentation, or go for a run. In your brain, that is your foot hitting the gas. You have an intention, and for a brief moment, you feel like this little surge of motivation. But then, a split second later, the questions start. Do I feel like it? Is now the right time? Should I make coffee first? Maybe I should clear my inbox so I can focus. That is your foot slamming on the brake. So you go back and forth between gas, and brake. Start, stop, yes, no, work, scroll. You never fully commit either way. When you hit the gas and the brake at the same time in your car, what happens? You don't move forward. You just burn out the engine. That is why you feel stuck and overwhelmed. You're burning fuel, but not moving forward. Your brain is doing laps around the decision instead of moving through the action. This is called decision fatigue. Your brain has a limited amount of high-quality decisions it can make in a day. Every should I or shouldn't I burns one of those decisions. Most people think that their exhaustion is about how much they're doing, but for a lot of us, it's actually about how much we're deciding. The problem is that you treat every task like a negotiation. You act like every single action requires a fresh debate, a fresh argument with yourself, and a fresh burst of motivation. You think you need to feel ready to act. You think that if you just had more confidence, more motivation, or more clarity, these decisions would feel easier. But confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. So we need to remove the constant thinking part. We need to stop redeciding the same decisions over and over again. This is where if-then planning comes in. If-then planning is a concept from psychology that helps you automate your behavior. You might also hear it called like implementation intentions. It's basically a way of pre-programming your own brain. Instead of relying on willpower in the moment, you make the decision once, when you're calm and clear-headed. So you don't have to make it again when you're tired, stressed, or tempted to negotiate. It works like this. So you pick a very specific trigger, that's the if, and you pair it with a very specific action. That's the then. If X happens, then I do Y. That's it. Let me give you some concrete examples here. If it's 7 a.m., then my feet hit the floor. Not if I feel rested, or if I feel motivated, or if I have time to journal. It's just if it's 7 a.m., the feet on the floor. Here's another one. If I open my laptop, then I write for 15 minutes before checking my email. Not if I feel creative, or if my inbox isn't too full, just if the laptop opens, then writing first. Here's one for stress. If I feel overwhelmed, then I take a 5-minute walk. Not if I feel like I deserve a break. It's just if overwhelm shows up, then I walk. Notice what's missing. There is no I feel like it. There is no negotiation. The trigger happens, the action follows. Period. Think about how much energy you would save if even 3 of your daily decisions were already made for you. You don't argue with yourself about whether to stop at a red light, right? You just stop. It's automatic. No debate, no drama. If-then planning takes the same automatic pattern and applies it to your habits, your focus, and your energy. I used to struggle with this constantly. Still kind of do sometimes. I would wake up and lay there for 20 minutes, debating if I should get up. I'd bargain with myself. If I stay in bed 10 more minutes, I'll work later tonight. If I skip the gym today, I will do cardio and weights tomorrow. By the time I actually got out of bed, though, I was already tired. I had spent my first unit of energy on a decision that shouldn't have been a decision. Later in the day, I would do the same thing with my work. I'd open up my laptop with every intention of starting a project. And then I'd think, all right, let me just clear a few emails first. Suddenly, 45 minutes was gone. And I hadn't even touched the thing that actually mattered. When I switched to if alarm rings, then feet on floor, it wasn't perfect immediately. My brain still tried to negotiate. It still said, but it's cold, or but you went to bed late. The difference was I had already made the rule. The alarm would ring, and instead of asking, do I want to get up? I would ask, what is my if then? If alarm rings, then feet on floor, right? That little shift saved me from that whole morning argument with myself. Suddenly, I had extra brain power at 10 a.m., not because my life got easier, but because my decisions got simpler. So how do you actually do this for yourself? Let's walk through this step by step. Step 1, pick one area where you're leaking energy. You don't need to fix your entire life today. Just pick one. Maybe look at your morning routine. The hard task you keep putting off at work, maybe getting yourself to exercise, or actually closing your laptop at the end of the day. Ask yourself, where do I have the most internal arguing? Where do I feel the most guilt, shame, or frustration around my follow-through? That's your starting point. Step 2, identify the trigger. The trigger is the if. It should be something very specific and easy to recognize. A time of day, a place, an action you already do, a feeling that shows up. If it's 7 a.m., if I sit at my desk, if I finish my first meeting, if I feel that tightness in my chest. The clearer the trigger, the easier it is for your brain to know, okay, now it's time for the action. Step 3, decide the smallest possible action. This is your then. Not the perfect action, not the ideal version, the smallest meaningful step. If it's 7 a.m., then I sit up and put my feet on the floor. If I sit at my desk, then I spend 10 minutes on my number one task before I open my email. If I finish my first meeting, then I refill my water and take 3 deep breaths. If I feel overwhelmed, then I pause and write down the next single step. You can always do more once you start. But your if then only needs to get you into motion. Step 4, write it down in one sentence. When you write it down, your brain takes it more seriously. It becomes a simple contract with yourself. If X happens, then I will do Y. You're not promising to, be perfect forever. You're just giving yourself a clear instruction for one specific moment. Step 5, expect resistance and do it anyway. Your brain will try to negotiate. That doesn't mean it isn't working. That means you're changing the pattern. The alarm will ring, and your brain will say, but I'm tired. That's okay. The rule is still, if alarm rings, then feet on floor. You'll open your laptop, and your brain will say, but I just want to check email first. That's okay. The rule still applies. If the laptop opens, then 10 minutes on the main task. You become a machine for that 1 second. You follow the rule, and then you can decide what comes next. Over time, this builds something much more powerful than motivation. It builds self-trust. You start to see yourself as someone who does what they'll do, even if it's in tiny ways. And that identity shift is where real confidence comes from. Your goal this week is not to do more work. It is to do less negotiating. I want you to pick one area where you're leaking energy. Is it your morning alarm? Is it starting a workout? Is it starting that one uncomfortable task at work? Maybe it's closing your laptop at 5. Tell me in the comments below, what is your if-then for this week? Write it down in one sentence. If X happens, then I will do Y. Once you write it, it's a contract. You've just taken one decision off your plate for the rest of the week. If you want to go deeper into this work, grab the Confidence Refined workbook. Inside, we build awareness scripts like If I Notice, so you can interrupt old patterns in real time and strengthen follow through from the inside out. And if decision fatigue is, something you want to understand more deeply, watch the playlist next. It breaks down how self-trust is built through small, repeated evidence, not big dramatic changes. But for now, remember this. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not bad at discipline. You're just burning out your mental engine by hitting the gas and the brake at the same time. Stop negotiating. Start deciding ahead of time.